NBC Sports Desk. This is 97.1 The Ticket.
Red Wings return to the ice this evening as they'll clash with the Tampa Bay Lightning at Little Caesars Arena. Our coverage of that game begins at 7:15.
In half a mile, turn
Michigan
left
State
onto
starts
Indian
its run at the
Trail.
Big Ten tournament in Indianapolis this afternoon as the Spartans will take on Maryland in the opening game of round 2. That contest tips off at 11:30. Interesting comment from Terrapins head coach Mark Turgeon. He was asked recently if his team needs to beat Michigan
half a
State
mile,
today.
turn right
to lock
onto
up a
Boulder
spot
Church
in the
Trail.
NCAA tournament.
I think we're in, but no matter what happens, we're in the best league in the country. We won 9 games, beat 4 top 25 teams. Be a 1 seed.
Starting route to home.
End up being a 3 or 4. So
In half a mile, turn right onto Old Orchard Trail.
But I'm not on the committee.
It should be pointed out that ESPN bracketologist Joe Lunardi has both Maryland and Michigan State in his projected field of 68 for the NCAA tournament. The second half of the NBA season officially starts tonight for the Pistons when they battle the Charlotte Hornets in Charlotte. You can hear that game over on AM 950 starting
At
with
the
the
light,
pregame show
turn
at
right onto Old
6:45.
Orchard Trail.
The first round of golf's unofficial 5th major, the Players' Championship, is officially underway this morning in Florida. Yesterday, Rory McIlroy confirmed for reporters that he recently spoke to Tiger Woods and that Woods will be released from the hospital, quote, very soon. You'll remember Woods underwent
In
surgery
1
just
mile,
last week to
take a
repair
slight
fractures
left turn
in his
onto
right
Old
leg and
Orchard
ankle
Trail.
he sustained in a car accident earlier this month in Los Angeles. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Tony Ortiz. For more, stay tuned to 97.1 The Ticket and radio.com.
All right, it is time for news with Heather. Don't forget, 7:25, it's the 2 Grand Slam. What's up?
All right, so Michigan State, they are going to be holding more than 50 limited attendance outdoor graduation ceremonies for the spring 2021 graduating class. So Michigan State's provost says that graduation is a time-honored academic transition from learning to the world, and the office of the provost looks forward to enabling
In half a
in-person
mile,
celebrations
take a
to
slight left
recognize
turn
this
onto Old
milestone
Orchard Trail.
accomplishment for our spring 2021 graduates. So university officials say that these ceremonies are going to be scheduled by each college based on student majors or alphabetically by their last name. And the ceremonies will take place at large parking lots on campus to allow for appropriate social distancing. Each graduate is permitted up to 2 guests, and masks will be required.
I guess they don't believe it's that important at the University of Michigan.
Hopefully they'll
Just
figure
looking for a
something
place
out
to hold it. Come on, they're just trying to find a venue big enough.
on campus that
Yeah.
would work, right? Yep. 3 adults
Take a
had to
slight
be
left
rescued
turn onto
from
Old
Lake
Orchard
Michigan
Trail.
on Tuesday while they were floating on a small inflatable raft. So these adults were floating about 100 yards from the shore of Grant Park
In
Beach.
1.1
in
miles,
South Milwaukee,
turn left onto
Wisconsin.
Commerce Road.
And the fire department received a call that these people were in distress. So they got out there, they got to them out in the water, and initially the people didn't want any help at all, but they did agree to be escorted back to the shore after they were kind of educated on the dangers of being out on Lake Michigan on a small raft without any life jackets. Nobody was injured, thank goodness, but it could have turned out a completely different way based on the temperature of the water, and heaven forbid one of them fall in and not be able to sustain themselves there. So, I get it.
Yeah. It's cold.
Yep.
Water's
It
cold.
is.
Doesn't
Even
last
though it's
long.
getting warmer outside, the water is still pretty cold.
I can't stand
Even in midsummer.
I hate cold water. Like the lake, I'm a wuss when it comes to that. It's got to be.
Oh, have
No
you
polar
ever?
dip for you?
No,
Yeah.
I did it once, I believe. Yeah, for a charity.
I would love to see that. Love to see it.
I've never done one, but I totally would. Have you ever swam in Lake Superior, Stoney, like in the summer?
No, I've never been to Lake Superior.
That's right. Because it's cold. It's really cold, I think. Just to go for like a fun leisurely swim, it takes a minute. It's like a shock to the system before you actually can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy was on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon on Tuesday, and he gave an update on Tiger Woods after his car crash, saying that Woods was in good
At the
spirits
light,
and could
turn left
actually
onto
be
Commerce
recovering
Road.
at home in the next few weeks or so.
Yeah, I've spoken to him a little bit. He's doing better. I think all the guys have reached out to him, and hopefully if things go well over the next week or so, we might be able to get home and start recovery at home, which would be great for him. So see his kids, see his family.
Good news.
Yeah.
That's good news, yeah.
Without a doubt. All right, so there's a man who claims that he secretly lived inside Philadelphia's Veterans Stadium
What?
for 3 years.
The vet?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. Okay, so this man, he's 78 years old. He is a Vietnam vet himself. He published this book called The Secret Apartment at Stadium, a surreal memoir. And he says he lived in an empty concession stand inside the vet
In
from
2.5 miles,
1979
turn right
to
onto Union Lake Road.
1981. Okay?
Wow.
His name is Tom Garvey, and he has no proof that he lived there. But there are several people that kind of corroborate his story, and one of them was Eagles Hall of Famer Bill Bradley, because people used to go and like party with him in this concession stand after the games.
Let me tell you something. First of all, the vet was a
Legendary.
dump, but it was our dump to a certain extent.
It's legendary.
Yes, I mean, it's one of the, it was a cookie cutter. It came out at the same time as like Three Rivers in Pittsburgh, Riverfront, Cincinnati. They were all the same. The turf was very hard. You played on it, right,
it was
John?
terrible.
It was terrible. They were one of the first stadiums to have like a jail cell because fans really unruly at Eagles games. But those 3 years, I mean, I assume he didn't stay in the concession stand. I'm sure he went out and watched games. I mean,
Well, yes, he would wander out.
The Phillies won the World Series in 1980 at the Vet. The Eagles won the NFC Championship game, one of the greatest games I ever saw. I wasn't there, but I was on television. Wilbur Montgomery, touchdown, and beat those damn-ass Cowboys for the NFC Championship. It was great. Lots of great stuff he saw there.
Yeah, he saw a lot of stuff. He shared stories about watching some things in his bathrobe, and people would look at him, and they never asked him why he was in a robe, but there was one time they asked him where he got the fresh coffee because all the concession stands had closed, and so they were looking more at him for his drink than his attire. But yeah, he's got some great stories. Obviously, he doesn't share them all now because he wants you to read the book, but he says he threw halftime parties during Eagles games. He hosted wives of Eagles players after the games where they would wait for their husbands. He's got stories of roller skating around the concourse.
Wow.
Like, yeah. And he had to leave after his uncles were working there and had a contract through 1981. So he left after that contract expired. Pretty incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty incredible. All right, so less than 48 hours after the University of Kansas parted ways with football coach Les Miles, the university has actually now split with the athletic director, Jeff Long, saying that it was necessary for the school to move in a different direction. So Long had a 5-year contract that paid him $1.5 million annually and was set to run through July 31st of 2023.
Didn't last that long.
No.
That
In
one
1 mile, turn right onto Union Lake Road.
No. Oh, man. All right, so a guy in Texas went to test drive a BMW. This was back in 2019. And while he was on his test drive, he drove it to a bank. He robbed the bank, and then he drove back to the dealership to use all of the cash to buy the car. Okay? Now, while he was doing all of the paperwork to buy this new car, the cops called the dealership and kind of let them know, hey, one of your vehicles was at the scene of a bank robbery, and it just went down. So the guy who was working the sale connected the dots and realized that this guy was the culprit. So we held him there for a while, kind of slowed down the process of signing all the paperwork, and the cops showed up, and he was just in court this week. He pleaded guilty to bank robbery, and he was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really get away with it.
No.
I mean, you can try. You can always try, but if they knew that vehicle was there at that time, and he was test driving it, he was busted. Hey, Taco Bell is bringing back a fan favorite, apparently. 5 years ago, Taco Bell offered the Quesaloopa for a limited time, and then they said they were going to pull it for good. But they're not, because it is coming back nationwide, and the Quesaloopa is a chalupa shell with a whole bunch of cheese melted inside, and then the standard taco filling is on top. And they say this time around they're putting in 50% more cheese than last time.
I'll never have enough cheese.
cheese lover's dream right there. Oh, yes.
How many of those could you eat in one sitting, John?
Yeah.
Let's find
At
out.
the light, turn right
let's
onto
go
Union
see.
Lake Road.
Hey, the Texas Rangers will have a full stadium of fans on opening day. They have announced that they will be fully opening their brand new stadium, the Globe Life Field, to 40,518 fans for opening day, which is on April 5th. They're also going to allow full capacity for the 2 final exhibition games as well. They do say
In
they will be
1.2
requiring
miles,
masks
turn
in the
left onto
stadium.
Meriden Avenue.
And then they say after opening day, they're going to introduce social distanced seating sections to move forward with the season.
So the opening day is a one-off
Yes.
for the max capacity.
And the exhibition games, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the
That makes it somewhat more palatable to me.
In 1 mile,
Still.
turn left onto
Especially-
Meriden
especially
Avenue.
when it rains and it becomes inside.
I mean, I understand the want of doing this. Everybody would love to be full capacity
Yes.
functioning just like we were before the pandemic. So I get the want of it. I don't get the need to rush into it
It's
right
not
yet.
over yet. I mean, we were talking, Gov brought up the fact that Kansas has players who have to miss the Big 12 tournament. I mean, we're going to see we might see forfeits still in the NCAA tournament. Let's, take baby steps before we start running marathons. That's my only thing.
I agree. I do agree with that. All right, finally, the story that made John laugh pretty hard earlier this morning. The NCAA is trying to stop a urology clinic from trademarking the phrase Vasectomy Mayhem. And the NCAA basically says, hey, this is really confusing. It's very similar to March Mayhem, and they want to attempt to stop the application from being approved to get this trademark. If it's that confusing, I don't think it is, but apparently so. Apparently to them it is, and they don't want to be connected to this clinic that specializes in vasectomies.
But they're not connected to it.
They're not at all. They're not at all, but they do say that phrase is confusingly similar.
Oh, come on.
It's not confusing. It's not similar.
No.
It's
Ridiculous. And no, for those of you who were listening earlier, I'm not going to repeat this.
Turn right onto Point Street.
You'll have to use the rewind function.
That's
on
right.
the app.
Radio.com.
Yes.
Download the app. Go to approximately
In a
6:20.
quarter mile,
Yeah.
turn right
Check it
onto
out.
Lagoon Avenue.
We had a lot of fun during that segment of the show, as we always do. All right. Thank you very much, Heather. Coming up at 7:25, your chance to win $2,000. It is the 2 Grand Slam. Coming up next, though, great news for the National Hockey League. 97.
Turn right onto Lagoon
Add a
Avenue.
little
Then
excitement
the
to your
destination
sports
is on
watching
your right.
experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel. And there's actually a few reasons why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook app, and here is just a few of them. They have great odds on all
The
different
destination
betting
is on
markets,
your right.
unique, fun
8353
bet types
Lagoon
like
Avenue.
same-game parlay,
Arrived at
always
home.
on promotions like enhanced odds boosts and the biggest events to get you more action in every game day. And if you win, they're going to get you your money.